How's it going, folks? This is Low Tier Hero from Drawphase. Today we're focusing on the Unchained deck. We'll analyze its strengths, strategies, and how to counter this powerful archetype effectively. The Unchained deck capitalizes on the self-destruction of its cards to activate potent effects and establish board control. Let's dive into the main strategy. Many Unchained monsters have effects that activate when they are destroyed, either by battle or card effect. Cards like Unchained Twins Aruha, Rekia, and Sarama all special summon other Unchained monsters from the deck or hand when they are destroyed. This allows the player to maintain field presence and cycle through their monsters quickly. The deck has multiple ways to recur its monsters from the graveyard. Abominable Chamber of the Unchained and Escape of the Unchained both have effects that can special summon Unchained monsters from the graveyard. This makes the deck resilient to board wipes, as most of their cards will float, and allows it to maintain momentum even after the opponent's disruptions. The deck has several cards designed to disrupt the opponent's plays. Unchained Soul of Shyama can destroy a spell trap on the field. Abominable Unchained Soul can destroy a card on the field after being special summoned, and Unchained Abomination can destroy cards on the field whenever another card is destroyed by a card effect. Well, what is its win condition? Honestly, its win conditions are board control with link monsters. The Unchained link monsters are the primary win conditions. Unchained Abomination can destroy cards on the field multiple times in a turn, allowing them to control the board. Unchained Soul of Anguish and Unchained Soul of Rage can use the opponent's monsters as link materials, removing threats and gaining link and field advantage. Primarily, this is a link up deck with control and swarm. It's very good, and it also has synergy with the DDD engine. And that being said, it is going to be involved and implemented into the Unchained strategy because of its most recent YCS win out in Canada. And with cards like Pot of Prosperity and Abomination's Prison, the deck has consistent ways to draw into or search for its key pieces, ensuring that they have the tools that they need to execute their strategy. Well, what are the combo starters? What are the key cards and the extenders that we should look out for when we are playing against an Unchained deck? Let's go ahead and cover those right now. To begin with, we have Unchained Twins Aruha. This card can destroy another card that they control to special summon itself from the hand. This self-destruction mechanism is a fundamental play starter for the deck, as many Unchained cards have effects that trigger upon their destruction. Unchained Twins Rekia. Similar to Aruha, Rekia can destroy a card they control to trigger its own effect to special summon. Being a quick effect makes it more versatile, as it can be activated in response to an opponent's action during their turn. Unchained Soul of Sharvara. This card provides a way to special summon itself by destroying another fiend monster or set card they control. If it goes to the graveyard, it allows you to set an Unchained spell trap from the deck. It's pretty solid and very monumental to get the build-up going. They also take in cards like Tour Guide from the Underworld, a well-known combo starter in many decks. In the Unchained deck, its ability to special summon a level 3 fiend from the hand or deck can easily bring out any of the Unchained Twins, setting up their plays. Abomination's Prison. This card is a searcher for the Unchained archetype. It can fetch any Unchained card from their deck, ensuring they have access to their key pieces. And finally, for the last card for combo starters, we've got Fiendish Rhino Warrior. It provides protections to a fiend monster and can send another fiend monster from the deck to the graveyard, setting up additional graveyard plays. Sarama is another extender. This card can retrieve any Unchained card from the graveyard and set it to the field, then triggers a destruction. Well, now that we've covered all that, you're probably wondering, well, what the heck is this deck's weaknesses? One of the weaknesses that it has is heavily reliant on destruction. The Unchained archetype heavily relies on cards being destroyed either by their own card effects or by the opponent. It's also vulnerable to non-destruction removal. Effects that banish, return to hand or deck, or change control can hinder the Unchained strategy, since they won't be able to trigger their destruction based effects. And another and final weakness that its strategy has is its dependency on card effects. Since the deck relies on activating card effects to destroy its own cards and disrupt the opponent, it's vulnerable to effect negation. Popular cards like Ash Blossom, Infinite Impermanence, and Infect Veiler can severely hinder the deck's performance. Here are the top 5 counters that we believe are crucial against the Unchained strategy. We've got Macrocosmos, Dimensional Fissure, and Dimension Shifter. By banishing any card that would go to the graveyard, you prevent the Unchained from getting their effects that trigger when sent to the graveyard. We've also got summon limits. This is going to hurt them so bad, but keep in mind that they also have the ability to pop back row. So while Summon Limit is a detrimental card, you also face the threat of back row hate. Effect Interruption is crucial. Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence. These cards can negate the effects of the Unchained monsters, preventing them from destroying cards and special summoning other monsters. You'll want to use these cards against the twins. And of course, you've got Ash Blossom, which can be used to counter the Search effect, and I would utilize this against Abomination's Prison or the special summon from the deck effects of the Unchained monsters. This will depend on game state. And you've also got banishing effects called by the grave and DD Crow. This can be used to banish key Unchained monsters from the graveyard, preventing resurrection. If these counters were not enough, fear not, we do have some floodgates that we can count on, and we are not going to be showcasing too many trap floodgates just because of how Unchained can destroy it with back row hate. So to begin this list with floodgates, we've got Abyss Dweller. Obviously we know that this card prevents opponents from activating cards from their graveyard for a turn. The impact that this has on the Unchained strategy is many Unchained monsters have effects that activate in the graveyard or rely on effects that involve the graveyard. You'll want to activate Abyss Dweller's effect early in the Unchained player's turn, especially before they can start their combo that involves the graveyard. Spellbound prevents the opponent's face-up monsters from being tributed or used as material for extra deck summons. This can halt the Unchained player's ability to go into their XYZs or Link monsters, which you'll want to activate Spellbound after the Unchained player has summoned their primary monsters, but before they can use them for extra deck summons. So if they summon one monster, cool, you can save it, and if they summon a second monster, that's when you'll want to go ahead and utilize Spellbound. There can be only one. Each player can control only one type of monster. They're primarily all Fiend. Obviously, the majority of the monsters are Fiend type, so this can severely limit their ability to maintain multiple monsters on board. And I wasn't going to cover any floodgates because floodgates are just terrible against this deck because most of their cards will float and will activate in the graveyard to give them more reach for their strategy. But the only floodgate that I can think of that is fairly decent, but they can still potentially play through it, is Evenly Matched. Banishing their cards face down is literally the best option for you. You won't want to use Lightning Storm, Raigeki, Dark Hole, anything like that, anything that destroys, because again, these cards will float. Well, there you have it, folks. This is the Unchained counter guide. I hope that this counter guide was insightful, impactful, and helpful when it comes down to playing against the Unchained strategy, whether it's on Master Duel or in the TCG. And keep in mind that these strategy guides are developed for the purpose of being a reference point and not to provide you with any sort of bias, because while I might love a certain tech, you may not like it, and while a certain tech may work in my deck, it may not have the same translation of chemistry and synergy in your deck. So remember to always practice, always test these techs and see which of these counters work best for you. This is Low Tier Hero coming at you with Draw Phase, and as always, we appreciate you being here, the time that you give us, and the fact that this channel is growing exponentially fast. I am very happy, and I cannot thank the community enough. This is Low Tier Hero coming at you with Team Draw Phase. Take care, my friends.